I think it's time that we talk a little bit about this Ysera situation. Now, let's see. Time to get the dialogue up for you. This is something. Now, it's not worth getting furious about yet because, you know, we obviously don't even know. You know, we don't actually know if it's going to be like this in the game. This could be old. It could eventually be changed, right? Actually, maybe I need to go onto Twitter. Actually, just give me a sec on the computer here. And I will find us the data mined text. There, I'll throw it on a notepad. How highly exciting this is. Okay. Okay, here we go, everyone. Let's talk about Ysera! Okay, let's talk about Ysera. This has been the talk of the town. The talk of the town. And for pretty good reason, because it sure, yeah, oh boy, it sure is something, isn't it? Now, I'm going to hit this button. What button? This button. That's the button. I'm going to look at our display capture here. So this is some data mine dialogue. It may not come out like this. May not be like this. But yeah, you'll see why people are talking about this. Let's make this a little bit bigger for everyone. A little bit smaller. Okay. Taronda, Ysera, your flight needs you. We need you. Whatever the price may be for your return to Azeroth, name it. Malfurion, Taronda. Tell us. It's me. I must be the one to stay. Ysera knows this, though she would never ask it of me. No, we will find another way. That's the first stage here. So, Ysera's going to come back, and Malfurion's... I mean, he's not going to die. He's just going to have to go to he's going to effectively die? Yeah, so does he die? Or does he just, you know, get stuck in Ardenweald for a long time? When she gave her life for mine in Val'sharah, it was not her time, and now the balance must be restored. That kind of felt hokey to us, because it's not like she sacrificed herself. Like, she got tricked by Xavius. She didn't actively sacrifice herself for him. She got tricked by Xavius. And then Taronda was forced to defeat her. Right? So that feels weird. Then Taronda says, then I will stay as well. Chandris and the others can, you know, presumably she would finish by saying lead. Malfurion, Taronda, should everything we hope come to pass, the Kaldori will need you. I'm so tired, Malfurion. Don't ask this of me after everything we've endured. My love, you have always been the strength of our people. They will follow you ever onward, and you will never be alone. Until I see you again, I will dream of the night we may truly rest together. I mean, they are just the couple who have not been allowed to have any of it, right? And I think for a lot of people... but it was Malfurion's diving headlong into danger that caused the opportunity. That is fair, yeah. Yeah, only remember Malfurion exists to kill him. That is the bit, right? So it's the sort of thing they feel like they need this drama here. You know, they feel like they need this sacrifice to come from Malfurion. He doesn't die, but I mean, the way she says this here, dream the night we may truly rest together. I mean, it doesn't sound like he's coming back from this. So away he goes. And I think that's been frustrating to people because a lot of people really like Malfurion. You know, they did from the books. They did even from, you know, you read A Good War and, you know, the other novellas for BFA, and it's like, fuck yeah, Malfurion's like pretty fucking powerful. He's some dude. Warcraft 3, of course, Malfurion. But Malfurion in World of Warcraft, it's just felt like he's been ignored a lot in World of Warcraft. So while this is obviously unconfirmed and everything, it feels weird, doesn't it? It does feel weird that just Malfurion's going to pop up and be like, I'll sacrifice myself, Ysera, get back here. Because, like, Ysera's death and everything doesn't feel meaningful when, you know, the last thing we hear Ysera say is like, nah, I'm pretty much stuck here in Ardenweald. It would take a real big sacrifice for me to come back. And it feels like for Blizzard to then have that sacrifice happen in the next piece of content that comes out for the game is just, like, to me that seems fucking insane in terms of pacing. Right? Like, that's a totally bonkers way to pace the game. Now, Blizzard will say, yes, but the time skip is several years. Yeah, it was in the game. But it wasn't for us. And WoW hasn't done much to make us feel like that time skip has happened. You know, the time skip will only feel that when we see characters age more, when we see the places that we know in Azeroth, you know, have that property be reflected. Right? Because it's like epilogue of Shadowlands. We learn that she's stuck there unless there's a big sacrifice. The very next update to the game, Malfurion sacrificed himself and she's back. I mean, that just feels way too quick in terms of pacing to me anyway. Like, I know there's pacing within the game's chronology, but then there's, like, the storytelling to us. So, I don't know. It just kind of does feel like they're kind of killing off Malfurion in order to further motivate Tyrande. I mean, they fucking love Tyrande. Holy shit. Oh, they can't give us enough Tyrande. Tyrande's everywhere. We had the whole Night Warrior thing that was just sort of repeating the character arc she'd sort of had in the past. And honestly, the Night Warrior was like a fucking sitcom. You know, it's like, yeah, it's done. Back to normal. Right? I don't know. Tyrande is like... You really get the sense that they just have a very small number of characters that they really love, I suppose. So I don't know. This is what's currently going on with a lot of the lore community anyway, and it's obviously been rather dramatic. I don't think this seems to be a particularly popular move overall, and I think we can all see why. Now, this is not confirmed. It's data mined. And it's definitely a shame that Blizzard weren't able to keep this encrypted or something like that. But it does seem like quite a move to make with the lore. I mean, the whole thing, you know, what the two of them envision, what they're dreaming of. Is that talking about the Night Elf renewal, right? Maybe that seed from the Winter Queen does get planted. I think it's a story people really want to see. And certainly, Tyrande and Malfurion have probably had a great time together off-screen for the last few years. But because we don't get to feel that as humans who are engaging in this story, it doesn't feel like that's happened. Right? It's like, you know, you're writing a book. You don't want to just be like, all right, we've ended this thing. Time skip, massive move. P.S. They had a really nice time with each other during that time skip I didn't show you. It wouldn't feel good to you as a reader. So, I really hope that Blizzard aren't using the time skip in this manner, because that seems like an extremely, it seems like an extremely clumsy way to use a time skip. It's very bizarre. It's very, very bizarre. It just feels like they go through everything so fast. And, you know, even this whole... Whatever the... where was it? We will find another way. Could we not have tried that? Like, the balance may be restored. What does this mean? That's a nice sentiment, Malfurion, but could we not find another way? I mean, the Winter Queen's really powerful. Elune talked to us a while ago. Could we ask them? I mean, I don't know. Maybe that stuff does happen. But, it feels odd to me. Wow, Dubbers, I'm fine with it. Malfurion's weird arm feathers always gross me out. Aww. Yeah, I mean, Malfurion, he's like way cooler in the lore than he's been portrayed in a lot of times, I think. Yeah, I don't know. And also, like, Marithra. Like, do we need Ysera to be back? Like, she died. She died. She has a daughter. How about her daughter has, you know, got to live up to her mum? I mean, that would be motivation for her daughter. But, like, now I guess her daughter doesn't really get to learn and grow much as a character, and we just get Ysera back anyway. So then it's just like, why do we do any of this? Have we just arrived, like, right back where we started, where the characters, they've just been through a bunch of shit, but it's all just stuff, and it hasn't really felt that good? I don't know. Do they plan their stories as much as they should? Can they tell an arc across multiple expansions that's emotionally satisfying? I don't know, but not massively. I don't know. This is definitely, you know, this is like, again, it may not go down like this, right? It may actually be different. Someone said this is Marvel route of storytelling. I guess it's a bit weird. It's like if, you know, it's like, oh yeah, clearly the actor wants out of this, so we got by Malfurion. No, this is just weird. This is weird. It feels unsatisfying as a direction for the narrative to go into. There's a way, I suppose, they could pull this off and it could be really cool in-game because that's always possible. But it just does feel like a bit of a sorry end for an underutilized character, I guess. Yeah. There's another thing about the time skip which was brought up in a super chat by... let me get the chat up here. Yeah, by Ashlana. As someone who roleplays, I have words about how the time skip screws so much up on the community that I can't afford to send cookie. Well, that was one of the first thoughts that I had about the time skip. It's like, I was excited about the time skip because, you know, I like the idea of, you know, an opportunity for Blizzard to sort of say, all right, we've had a ridiculous cadence of world-ending events. Let's have some quiet time. Let's update the state of the world. Let's let the factions rest and settle and for things to happen. So, you know, I like all that. And if, you know, all this talk I've had about, you know, it seems like they're stealth updating lots of old assets. If that did lead to a time skip in 11.0 that, like, reflected that, or sorry, a world revamp that reflected that time skip, like, that would be just kind of crazy, right? We could see so many lore updates to so many characters. It would feel like, you know, re-establishing World of Warcraft again. Like, 11.0 would almost feel like 1.0 version 2, because we've done a time skip, we've revamped the world, and it's like, bam, here you go. Here's, you know, we've wiped the slate clean, this is where we go from now on. That was always what was exciting to me about the idea of a time skip. You know, it could also let Blizzard establish the things they want to establish, make the things they want to make, and then carry the story on from there in a reasonable fashion. But undoubtedly for a role player, it is a bit funny when it's like, yeah, your character is 5 years older now, or 4 years older now, and you're like, oh, cool, I logged in and now I've aged 4 years. So that could be tricky for RP. I mean, it's definitely saying, hey, RPers, you need to come up with 4 years of backstory for your character. I mean, there's always, you know, you could just headcanon it, and you could just say to yourself, whenever my character goes to the Dragon Isles, that's when the time skip has happened. When I'm still in Stormwind, ain't no time skip. Like, that's always the superpower of being a role player. you can use your head to get around problems. In in that like kind of clunky way, but obviously it does feel a bit funky whenever it can feel a bit funky whenever like it's just like, hey, your character's aged up, you don't have much to say about that. I mean, the other side of it too then is just like, I mean, yeah, as Darkscreen just pointed out, or Darkscream, Rathian's like 7 years old. Yeah, okay, now Rathian can be like 14. We've got some distance from these events in the past. That could certainly help other aspects of their storytelling. So, yes, with the time skip, there's pros and there's cons. What I've generally said is, there's the George R.R. Martin thing. After Storm of Swords, he wanted to do a time skip. But then he felt that in order to make the time skip actually make, sense to his world, he had to do so many flashbacks, then he may as well just not do the time skip. And it's almost like that when you have such a big, expansive lore that people have paid attention to for years. It makes all of that really hard.